By the way, did you see how many bombs were hit last night in the NBA All-Star game?
Well, yeah, of course.
Steph Curry was ridiculous. Giannis was ridiculous last night.
Didn't miss. Guy didn't miss.
Yeah.
And you had Dame Lillard doing the same thing. I mean, these guys showing off. I mean, it is what it is. First to 170. First to 170. I think they're going to start doing that in the regular season now, too. Whenever team makes it to 170 points first, they're just going to end the game.
Hey, the fact that they had it is somewhat of a minor miracle, but there is no question that they had to have it. It's a financial thing for the players, for the owners of the NBA, and, it was only a one-night deal. Normally they do a weekend thing, as you pointed out. But, it was a celebration of basketball. I didn't have a problem with it. It was exactly what I expected it to be.
Yeah, I mean, how could you really have a problem with it? I mean, as long as the players, of course, wanted to participate, they did. I mean, the things I took away from it was, one, Giannis going 18 for 18, which has never been done. I think the best ever in an All-Star game was 9 for 9.
Is it 18 for 18 or 16 or 16?
16 for 16, sorry. So, yeah, they doubled up the old record, which was 8 for 8. There you go. So it was 16 for 16. And then James Harden showing up in probably what was, a $5,000 or $6,000 outfit that looked like a raincoat, a clear raincoat that he was wearing. That I took from it. And Obi Toppin getting second in the dunk contest. That's really what I took from it. I mean, but outside of that, you know what these All-Star games are for, Boomer? They're for the younger fans to get into. That's what it is, to build that core base of fandom. Because when I was younger,
the game was on late.
Yeah, but it should be. That's when it not for everybody.
Right. It's late Sunday night. That's right. Kids are staying home for school now anyway. Most of them, so it doesn't matter.
Most of them, you think, are still staying home?
No, I think a lot of kids are in school. I just think that there's a very large population, however, that are not going to school for whatever reason.
Right. Well, I guess everybody's got their own situations and their own jurisdictions and all of that stuff. But yes, as we get started for a second half of an NBA season, you see another addition, by the way, going to the Brooklyn Nets in Blake Griffin. So Blake Griffin, one of these guys, though, that when you hear his name, you're thinking, wow, they're adding Blake Griffin to the Nets as well? This team's going to be unstoppable. Now, I do think he's going to make an impact, but it's not like it was going to be injected into inserted into the starting lineup right away, and he's going to be playing the same amount of minutes as the three superstars when healthy. It's not going to work like that. He's going to come off the bench. I mean, he's someone whose skill set and experience at this point is going to be beneficial to them, but this isn't like, year 2, year 3, high-flying Blake Griffin, dunks off the glass, doing backflips type of guy.
No, he's going to be like Derrick Rose is to the Knicks, maybe even less than that. He's going to play less minutes than that. I can't imagine him playing more than 23 or 24 minutes a game. Can you?
No way.
Unless, of course, somebody gets hurt. And then, I actually thought that the Nets did a good job of developing some of the young players. And, they've all pitched in at some point in time. There's always been a player, whether it be Bruce Brown, right? That all of a sudden out of the middle, out of nowhere, has a huge game.
Right.
And he's feeding off of Irving and Harden, and sooner or later they'll get Durant back, and now you add this guy to the mix. It's just another guy to go out there, eat some more minutes up, and then come up with some big plays in the middle of games and some rebounds. And you watch, he's going to have a very good impact here. It's a good signing by the Nets, really good signing by the Nets.
Yeah, I mean, to me, it's also one of those things where Blake Griffin probably said, that's where I want to go. Let's make this work.
I wish in the NFL they had buyout scenarios like this. I mean, it's unbelievable. Like, they can't make a trade, so they buy a guy out, and then the guy goes where he wants to go.
Yeah, I mean, it's another one of those things where the NBA player is looked at by the NFL player with jealousy because of some of the situations that they can force and they have at their fingertips.
Yeah, 100%. Like, if you're Russell Wilson, you want out of Seattle, wouldn't you love to be bought out?
Yeah.
A little different story because it's quarterback versus a guy that's not the player that he once was. But, I mean, it's amazing how the NBA player they just throw money at them, which is fine. I mean, but there isn't a more taking care of group of professional athletes than NBA players are. I know Major League Baseball would be second because they have those long $300 million contracts. Man, but these contracts and these buyouts and stuff, it's nuts.
Yeah, and I think that, because of the 50-50 split, because of the fact that one NBA player can make an impact on a franchise more than any one singular player in any other sport, I mean, this is why this has happened, because David Stern built the league around stars. Stars are what make this thing run. There's so many talented stars in the NBA, and they've gained all this power, and good for them. I mean, if you think about all the situations in pro sports, I mean, they for sure, especially the top end of the league, really have it made from, the standpoint of making salaries, but also controlling their future. I mean, they really have found a way to put themselves in situations that they want to be in, and very rarely do you see a guy who's stuck in a place where he doesn't want to be for very long.
And nobody exemplifies that more than James Harden. I mean, he turned down $10 million contract extension?
Yeah.
2 years, $55 million a year, and he turned it down so he could get out of Houston and come to Brooklyn and play with Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving, and now Blake Griffin. It's almost like an all-star team.
Oh, it is.
I mean, literally it is.
It is.
And you know what it shows you yesterday, and I know it's just it's just an exhibition game. It's not a big deal, but it just goes to show you yesterday, when you have top end shooters on your roster, you're going to win basketball games. That's all there is to it. And the Nets have 3 of the best shooters in basketball on their team, and when they're all healthy at one time, what that does for everybody else. So whether it be Claxton or Bruce Brown or Joe Harris or Shamet or somebody like that will have a night. The other 3, or the other 4 in this case now with Blake Griffin, man, think about how easy it would be to play with those guys.
Oh, for sure. Now, I think that the major criticism when Sean Marks made the deal for James Harden was that you're taking away depth, you're trading away guys who have been here for a while, and then that on top of the injury to Spencer Dinwiddie, it was who are the role players going to be that you can trust? Well, there's a ton of them. I mean, as you mentioned, the 2 guys who emerged that we weren't talking about at the time, and Brown and Claxton, and then you got TLC as well. Now you're adding Blake Griffin to that mix. Landry Shamet, who was one of these sharpshooters that you could just see in a playoff game being left open and hitting 4 threes in a fourth quarter. You could just see it.
How did they not win? Honestly, how did they not win the championship? If they are all healthy and all on the court at the same, how do they not win?
I mean, the Lakers, LeBron, if Anthony Davis is healthy, I mean, that's a good team.
Oh, come on.
I mean, they added guys too, man. You got to remember.
You have to remember that somebody's got to beat them 4 out of 7 games. Who's going to do that?
I think that if Anthony Davis comes back healthy, I think that the Lakers would have a shot to him. I would.
A shot.
I would.
A shot.
Of course. Right now, they may be favored.
More importantly for us, though,
the Nets, that is.
Yeah. Well, yeah, more importantly for us, I was going to say, is the Knicks. And what their schedule now looks like here over the next 10 games. You remember we talked about the 10 games prior to the All-Star break? They had to beat those teams.
And they won 7 out of 10, right?
Right, they did. They won 7-3, and, we were hoping for, 7-3, maybe 8-2. But now comes, a real gauntlet of teams. And they're going to be playing a lot of better teams. It's kind of like where the Rangers are right now. Okay, we could destroy the Devils. That's great. But now you got the Penguins and the Bruins, and you're going to find out pretty quickly, what kind of team you have. Do you have a legitimate playoff team? Is the team going to come together? I mean, quite frankly, they got to get their best player back. It's about time for him to come back now. Panarin, I'm talking about. But it's like when you take a look at this Knicks schedule, it's like the Rangers schedule. It's a gauntlet, and you're going to find out pretty quickly if the Knicks can stay in the playoff hunt. I think they will. I think there's just too much good feeling about what's going on around them. I don't know why they shouldn't be able to stay within the top 8.
Yeah.
And, like top 10, they get to play in. So that, I guess, is considered somewhat of a playoff. But I still say they could stay in the top 8. I really do. But they're going to.
You could fall out quickly, though, is the problem.
Yeah, that's, they open with Milwaukee. Then it's at Oklahoma City. So they start with a 4-game road trip.
Yeah.
Milwaukee, Oklahoma City, Brooklyn, and Philadelphia. And then they come home for Orlando, Philly, Washington, back-to-back. And then they're at Milwaukee again, and then it's Miami. So it's not going to be an easy start to the second half of the season for them.
Yeah, I'm a little bit worried about a burnout with them. I am. I'm a little bit worried about them in the first half. Yeah, I am.
7 games, dude.
No, I am. Just because they've played so much better than we expected.
Thank you for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe. And don't forget to hit the red bell so you're notified when we have new content.